Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to PGO Traders. My name is Taryn, and this is Odric, Lunarch, Marshal for Commander. So I have done a lot of testing on trying to figure out a way to have the best kind of version for a deck tech, and you know what? I'm just going to kind of go with it anyway. Regardless if it's the best version or not, we'll do tweaking along the way and hopefully come to a more concise version of how to do a deck tech for a commander deck, because I definitely don't want to just go through all 100 cards. I think that's a little silly. I think that takes up way too much time. So I think here I'm just going to talk about the commander and of course the top 20 cards in the deck. But before I get into it, make sure to like the video if you like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Helps us out a lot and keeps these videos rolling. But without further ado, let's get right into our commander here. We have Odric, Lunarch, Marshal, a 4-mana 3/3 legendary creature human soldier. At the beginning of each combat, creatures you control gain first strike until end of turn if a creature you control has first strike. The same is true for flying, death touch, double strike, haste, hexproof, indestructible, lifelink, menace, reach, skulk, trample, and vigilance. Basically, the kind of, I guess, gimmick of the deck is to have a lot of creatures out with lots of different keywords, so that when Odric does hit the battlefield, all of our creatures get those same keywords. We're not necessarily using Odric as an attacker per se, we're more like using Odric as an enchantment that can kind of come down on turn 4. Just to kind of run through the numbers real quick, we have 28 creatures, 15 spells, 13 artifacts, 8 enchantments, and of course 36 lands. I'll be showing you a full layout at the end of the video, and of course the deck list is in the description below. But here I just wanted to point out some key cards that I really like for the soldier archetype to go on top of our Odric archetype as well. So first up here we have a Ballyrush Baronet, a 2-mana 2/1 Kithkin soldier. Kithkin spells and soldier spells you cast or you play cost 1 less to play. Our most expensive soldier in the deck is 6 mana, but that means everything else comes down by 1 thanks to the Ballyrush here. A fantastic card on turn 2 and a great way to make our entire deck cheaper. Moving on, we have a Preeminent Captain, another Kithkin here. It's a 3-mana 2/2 Kithkin soldier with first strike, and whenever Preeminent Captain attacks, you may put a soldier creature card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped and attacking. A great way to get another soldier out from your hand onto the battlefield. Again, super aggressive, super on curve, and this is going to be a turn 4 attack. Do keep in mind, Odric does get the first strike, and all of our creatures get first strike if Odric is on the battlefield. Next up here we have Precinct Captain, another Captain Force. This is a 2-mana 2/2 human soldier with first strike. Whenever Precinct Captain deals combat damage to a player, create a 1/1 soldier creature token. That's awesome. Soldiers follow other soldiers, and of course this Precinct Captain makes other soldiers for us to have in our battlefield. You'll find that a lot of the soldiers actually create more soldiers, widening our board state heavily, so we can actually get in there for some extra damage. Moving on here, we have Paragon of the New Dawns, a 4-mana 2/2 human soldier. Other white creatures you control get +1/+1. So this is a mono white deck, so that means all of our creatures are going to get +1/+1, and we can pay 1 tap it. Another target white creature you control gains vigilance until end of turn. And that is fantastic for anything like the Precinct Captain or the Preeminent Captain. Anything like that where they have an attack trigger going off or they have damage on the stack going off, and we do have vigilance to gain for them as well. Moving on from here, we have Captain of the Watch, one of our top curve soldiers here. It's a 6-mana 3/3 with vigilance. Other soldier creatures you control get +1/+1 and have vigilance, which is awesome. And whenever Captain of the Watch enters the battlefield, create 3 1/1 white soldier creature tokens onto the battlefield. So you know how we kind of have the Angel of Invention in standard right now? Well, this is basically Angel of Invention, but for a soldier. It's super powerful and amazing at being able to widen our board state just with 1 creature. It makes 4 creatures for 6 mana and gives them all +1/+1 and gives them vigilance. I think that's pretty awesome. But of course, let's say vigilance isn't your thing. What about first strike? Let's have first strike here. Archetype of Courage is here, a 3-mana 2/2 enchantment creature human soldier. Creatures you control have first strike. Creatures your opponent controls lose first strike and can't have or gain first strike, which is amazing. Now, of course, if they have double strike, they still have double strike, but if they have first strike, we definitely win on the damage counter there. Archetype of Courage doesn't even matter if it's played on turn 3. If it's played any time in the match, is usually a bombshell coming into the battlefield. And some more pump creatures for us. We have Veteran Swordsmith. This is a 3-mana 3/2 human soldier. Other soldiers you control get +1/+0, and Veteran Armorsmith, a 2-mana 2/3 human soldier. Other soldier creatures you control get 0/+1. Pumping our attack, pumping our defense. Exactly what we want to be doing to build out our board state. So we have keywords going off. We have going wide. What else can we do here? We have Crusader of Odric. This is a 3-mana star human soldier. Crusader of Odric's power and toughness are equal to the number of creatures you control. By just playing on Captain of the Watch, Crusader of Odric is immediately a 5/5, because of course Crusader does count itself, but even before Captain of the Watch, we're going to have several creatures on the battlefield that Crusader of Odric can use as her power and toughness. But that's kind of a smattering of creatures here. We've got a ton of fantastic creatures for us that are really good at being able to get in turn over turn, as well as give us keywords, and of course, make more soldiers. Let's move on to some artifacts here. We have Oketra's Monument. This is a 3-mana legendary artifact. White creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. That's fantastic. Whenever you cast a creature spell, create a 1/1 white warrior creature token with vigilance. So sad day, this doesn't create a soldier. I wish it created a soldier so badly, just like how I wish it creates cats in actually standard, but creating warrior is fine. It is a 1/1 with vigilance, and of course it makes all of our white spells, our creatures, cheaper. Catcher's Monument is yet again another card for us to be able to cast our creatures on a low curve. It truly does help us kind of get there and get there really fast. Not to mention building out our board state really quickly. Next up here we have Skull Clamp. It's a 1 mana artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1, -1, and whenever equipped creature dies, draw 2 cards. And of course, you can equip for 1. So we have a lot of soldiers here that are creating other 1/1 soldiers, and putting Skull Clamp on a 1/1 soldier immediately kills it, but does draw us 2 cards, which is fantastic in Commander. Overall, Skull Clamp is probably the best as far as value in our entire deck. Just a great way to draw extra cards. Next up here, we have Mask of Avacyn, a 2-mana artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+2 and has hexproof, and of course, equipped for 3. This is a great card to put onto Odric itself, because making Odric have hexproof means all of our creatures have hexproof, and that does mean that every single creature on our entire board has hexproof. And the reason that is so good is because spot removal means nothing to us. We need a board wipe removal at the start. Mask of Avacyn is cheap to play, and of course, kind of expensive to equip, but overall worth it. Moving on here, we have Stoneforge Masterwork, a 1-mana artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each other creature you control that shares a creature type with it. Equipped for 2. Since this is a soldier deck, Stoneforge Masterwork is a fantastic card for us in a creature type spell like this. Being able to get +1/+1 for each soldier on the battlefield means we're going to have a 3/3, 4/4, or 5/5 on top of whatever the other creature is. I'm so happy this card exists, and it's actually quite cheap in the deck. And the last artifact I want to talk about today is Vanquishers Banner. It's a new card from Ixalan, a 5-mana artifact. As Vanquishers Banner enters the battlefield, you choose a creature type. Creatures you control the chosen type get +1/+1, and whenever you cast a creature spell of the chosen type, draw a card. So this is fantastic for us for soldiers, because again, we have 28 soldiers in the deck. We have a lot of creatures that are going to be creating tokens of soldiers. So making it a soldier-based strategy means we're going to have a +1/+1 on top of them, and every time we cast one, we draw a card, which is amazing for value. Now, of course, Vanquishers Banner is 5 mana, so it is quite expensive, but getting there is not that bad, because we do have the ability to get out really wide with all of our soldiers to begin with. And of course, getting to turn 5 in Commander is not bad at all. But that is just a tiny taste of the artifacts. Let's move on to the enchantments and spells here. We have, of course, Always Watching, a 3-mana enchantment. Non-token creatures you control get +1/+1 and have vigilance. This card is, of course, great for us, and of course, we have Intangible Virtue in the deck as well. Next up here, we have Make a Stand, a 3-mana instant. Creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain indestructible until end of turn. This is going to be a great card against a lot of board wipe spells, or any kind of spells that, of course, want to completely destroy all of our creatures. But really, this card is amazing for us. It really does help us out. Next up here, we have Dusk-to-Dawn, a new card from us from Robin Cat, a 4-mana sorcery. Destroy all creatures with power 3 or greater, and Dawn with 5 mana with Aftermath. Return all cards with power 2 or less from your graveyard to your hand. So most of our actual soldiers are actually power 2 or less. Not all of them, of course, but most of them. So Dawn might actually go off more frequently than us. But for Dusk, we have a great way of being able to board wipe our entire opponent's side of the field and be able to keep all of our 1/1 soldiers, as well as our Kithkins and other stuff like that. Out of the 28 creatures in the actual deck, we have about 6 or 7 that are over 3 power. And one of them, of course, is the Star creature too. So I do think Dusk comes in handy for us as a great wipe spell for our opponent. One more card that's amazing for us as well is Launch the Fleet. This is a 1 white sorcery with Strive. Launch the Fleet costs 1 colorless more to cast for each target beyond the first. So when you turn any number of target creatures each gain, quote, whenever this creature attacks, put a 1/1 white soldier creature token into the battlefield tapped and attacking. Launch the Fleet is amazing. Basically can double our board state if we have the mana to do this for Launch the Fleet, and can be a complete game changer depending on our board state. The last card I kind of wanted to talk about is kind of a not that efficient card for us, but it is a fun one. Dictate of Heliod, a 5-mana enchantment with flash, and creatures you control get +2/+2. The best part about this is that it does have flash, and that does mean all of our 1/1 soldiers are really large now. They're 3/3s and can block a lot more than they used to. Well, Dictate of Heliod is 5 mana, and that is kind of expensive. Being able to pull this as a flash spell out of nowhere against your opponent when they attack in with an Eldrazi or something crazy like that is amazing. But that's kind of my top 20 as far as the Commander deck goes. Let's go to the layout here. If you can see, there are a ton of great spells just packed into this list, and of course, in the link below is a deck list of the full set with everything kind of explained for you as well. We'll be running this on stream, and I hope it really does well for us, because I really did like building this Odric Lunarch Marshal Commander deck. And on MTGO Traders, it's only 3.75 tickets, which means it's incredibly cheap, and in paper, it's about $35, which is amazing. Again, I kind of want to make Commander really cheap for us, and I think this does exactly that. But of course, let me know what you guys think. Do you have any cards to improve it? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Just let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Of course, like the video if you liked it, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this in the future. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.